All right, so as you know, in the last week or so, we've been talking a lot about logarithms and exponentials. So in this video, we're going to look specifically at solving exponential equations. So just for an example, let's say we have 2 to the x, that can be our exponential. Again, x is up in the exponent. 2 to the x equals 7, okay? And so our goal is we want to get x by itself. And so to do that, we have to remember the fact that exponentials and logarithms are inverses, or they're opposites of each other. They undo each other. So to undo an exponential, we are going to need to take the logarithm of both sides, okay? And we're going to take a logarithm with a base of 2. We're going to take a log with base 2 of both sides. And what that does for us, if you look at the left side of our equation over here, log base 2 undoes the exponential with 2 as its base, and so we're just left with x, okay? And over on the right side of the equation, we have log base 2 of 7. And so we could kind of ask ourselves, all right, 2 to what power equals 7? And it doesn't come out very cleanly, so you could put this in a calculator, and you would say x is approximately, I'm just going to go to 3 decimal places. If you plug it in, you get 2.807, and you get some other, let's just go to 3 decimal places, okay? Again, so that's one of the big ideas. When we have an exponential, we want to undo them using a logarithm, okay? Second example we're going to look at a little bit here is, we're going to get it a little bit trickier. And so we're going to say 100 to the x equals 1/10 to the x minus 3. Okay. And now this is a little bit more complex. If you think back to our first example up here, we only had one exponential when we started. We only had one exponential and one variable. In this example, it's a little bit more complex. Okay, we actually have a variable x on both sides, and we have 2 exponentials. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to try to get both bases, all right, our base is 100 and 1/10. We're going to try to get them to look the same, okay? And so to do that, I recognize that both of them kind of sort of have a 10 in common. And what I mean by that is I could rewrite 100 as 10 squared, and then we still have that to the x. And over here, 1/10 is the same thing as 10 to the negative 1/1. Okay. And then we still have to the x minus 3. Okay, so now you see how they both have a base of 10 in common. Oh, that's a little nicer for us. That can do some things. The other really important fact we have to remember is that when you have a power of a power, so what I mean by that is if I told you x cubed and then we squared it, okay, well, that would just be x cubed times x cubed. That's what squaring means, multiplied by itself, or x to the 6th. So when you have a power of a power, you can multiply these, right? 3 times 2 would give us our 6. So a power of a power, I can multiply, I'll say 10 to the 2 times x, or 2x. Okay. With this other side, well, we have 10 to the negative 1 times x would be negative x minus, or actually negative 1 times negative 3 would be plus 3. Okay. From here, you could kind of think about this a couple different ways. Personally, when I look at this, I see that, hey, the bases are the same, and so in order for this to be true, the exponents have to be equal. In order for this equal sign to be true, the exponents have to be the same. So 2x must equal negative x plus 3. If you want to do a little bit more mathematically, you could say, all right, in order to undo an exponential, we said that you must take the log of both sides, okay? And I'm going to take log base 10. Again, that this 10 matches up here, so these undo each other. And you're left with 2x. Log base 10 of an exponential undoes it, and so you're left with the same thing, okay? From there, you can add x to both sides. At this point, we're getting back into 8th grade Algebra 1 stuff, and you would see that x equals 1, okay? Just showing a little bit of work there, all right? You could go back in and check this at the very beginning, but the main idea was, in order to get started, we needed our two exponential bases to look very similar to each other. So we wrote it as 10 squared, and we wrote it as 10 to the negative first, so they could match. From there, it was a power of a power, okay? And that is solving exponential equations in a nutshell.